Imagine going to sleep one night and waking up 17 years later thinking it is still the same day. This is the real story of Terry Wallis, the man whose mind stayed frozen in time. In July 1984, Terry was riding in a pickup truck with his friend. The truck slipped off a small bridge and flipped violently. The impact left Terry with severe brain injury. He survived physically, but his mind was trapped. He entered what doctors called a minimally conscious state. He wasn't fully gone, but he wasn't really there either. Doctors were clear with his family. He will never wake up. They said his brain damage was permanent. They advised accepting reality, but his family refused to give up. Every day his mother visited him, talking to him, singing to him, moving his hands, brushing his hair. She did everything she could, even though Terry never responded. At first there were tiny signs. A blink, a twitch, a small reaction to a familiar voice. His family clung to those signs, each one a spark of hope. Weeks became months, months became years. 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. Doctors tried every therapy, physical therapy, speech therapy, sensory stimulation. Every method imaginable. Yet he remained silent, motionless, trapped in time. The room stayed the same. The world outside moved on. Life continued, but Terry remained frozen in 1984. Then, 17 years after the accident, something impossible happened. One quiet morning, a nurse entered his room. Terry's mother was sitting beside him, as usual. Suddenly, Terry turned his head, looked straight at his mother, and said one word: "Mom." The nurse froze. His mother collapsed in tears. 17 years of silence broken by a single word. A few minutes later, Terry said, "Pepsi," his favorite drink before the accident. It was as if time inside his brain had stopped in 1984 and restarted exactly where it left off. He thought it was still 1984. He didn't know the Berlin Wall had fallen. He didn't know computers and mobile phones existed. He didn't know friends had died. He didn't know he had a daughter who had grown up without him. The moment he realized was a mixture of joy and confusion. Everything was new, everything was strange. Everything he remembered unchanged, everything around him alien. Doctors studied him closely. They discovered his brain had slowly rebuilt neural pathways, almost like rewiring itself, connection by connection. Silent repair over 17 years. They called him the man who woke up before science expected him to. Life after awakening wasn't simple. He had to relearn daily routines. How to eat, how to speak, how to understand the world again. Even simple tasks were suddenly complicated. Every day was like discovering a new world. The world he remembered, and the world that moved on without him. Technology he had never seen. Friends and family who had changed. He struggled with memory gaps, remembering 1984 vividly. But the years in between were blank, a void that no one could explain. Yet, he regained the ability to communicate, formed sentences, relearned how to speak clearly, and slowly adapted to life again. The emotional weight was enormous. He faced the loss of time, the loss of missed experiences, the realization of what he had missed, his daughter's childhood, life milestones, 17 years trapped, 17 years of silence. Then, a single word. Mom. A word that changed everything. Terry lived between two timelines, the world he remembered and the world that had continued without him. His story is remarkable, a miracle of the human brain, a reminder that hope, patience, and love can achieve what seems impossible. Sometimes the smallest word, a single word, can bring someone back from the edge of eternity. Even after awakening, he remained partly trapped between the past he remembered and the present he had to learn. Life was a bridge between two times, and he had to cross it slowly. His story inspired scientists, doctors, families around the world. Terry Wallis proved that the human brain can do the unexpected, that recovery is sometimes silent, and that miracles can happen. 17 years of silence, 17 years of waiting, 17 years for one word, Mom, a word that changed his life and reminded the world that sometimes even the smallest voice can awaken the impossible.